How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, and it is Monday here on this show. You know that means we got a lot to get into here today. Tonight is Raw. Got to talk about Monday Night Raw. Got a lot of stuff scheduled for Raw tonight. 6 matches announced for the show, including a title match. And in addition to that, we had a lot of stuff coming up this past weekend, or having happened this past weekend. We had the Smackdown show with a big angle in the main event, setting up the Women's War Games match. Which, by the way, when that angle was over, that feels like a hotter match than the Men's War Games match. So we'll tell you about that here today. There was also the Collision show, and there was a UFC pay-per-view. We could talk about all of that if you would like. And, of course, New Japan has got Wrestle Kingdom coming up, and we now have 7 matches scheduled for the January 4th Tokyo Dome show, one of which I'm praying takes place as Bryan Danielson and Okada will occur if Bryan Danielson makes it through at least 5 matches in a AEW version of the G1. And I guess if he ends up in the finals, he'd be doing 6 matches. All of this with a broken orbital bone. So we'll tell you about that. Got some movie news for you on MJF and John Cena. Tribute to the Troops is going to air in the Smackdown time slot. We have New Japan announcing the teams for the World Tag League and plenty more. If you'd like to text us today, 425-780-7566 is the phone number. That is 425-780-7566. And Filthy Tom joining us in about 2 hours as well. Got a lot to talk about with him, including Chris Jericho and Takeshita. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Good the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. You know, somebody on the chat here, they noted that Danielson will be wrestling with a broken frickin' eye. That's actually not true.
No.
He will be wrestling with a broken frickin' skull.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys know what an eye socket is?
I do.
It's sitting on your skull. His skull is cracked.
Yeah.
And he's going to be wrestling in the Continental Classic, which was announced on the Collision show.
Now, Michael Bisping, you could say, was fighting without an eye, but he had an eye, but it was a lack of use of his eye.
So what's going on here? Well, Tony Khan and Bryan Danielson did a promo
together.
Made
a G1. That's what happened here.
Which was unintentionally like the most ridiculous thing. I guess I shouldn't say it's unintentional. I think it was unintentional for it to come off as almost like dark comedy. But Bryan's got his head completely taped up because he's got a broken skull eye socket.
It's Colin Delaney.
And, you know, he's like, he looks like Pumpkinhead or something. He's got all this stuff around him.
The mummy?
And Tony Khan is explaining, not even the mummy, like the mummy's wrapped tight. Like he's got so much stuff that his head is expanded on his head. And Tony explains that it's too bad that Bryan was not there for All In 2024 or 2023. But he says, fear not. He will be there for All In 2024. And I thought, oh, God, curse this poor guy. So then he says, we're going to do this Continental Classic. It's a round robin. 12 stars, he says, in matches every week. There will be a league finals. And then the winner will be crowned at AEW World's End. And he says the first participant in this tournament will, in fact, be you, Bryan Danielson. I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, is this a joke? This guy looks like he was hit in the head with a baseball bat. And Tony's announcing that he starts wrestling now in 2 weeks, okay? So, for those of you that forget, he cracked his orbital bone about 3 weeks ago in a match with Andrade. He then wrestled again the following Wednesday. He then took, no joke, a whole week to figure out if he needed surgery or not. He waited. He finally got his surgery the following week. And then here we are a week out. And, you know, at the time it was like he's touch and go for January 4th. It's touch and go for January 4th. But you know what? He's going to be in the ring November 20, whatever it's going to be. And, you know, everyone's talking about how, my God, this guy's got he's got a broken orbital bone. He's got to wrestle 5 matches. Wrong. Well, I don't know if it's wrong, but it's probably wrong. You see, there's 5 league matches. Then there will be the league finals, which I think would be a 6th match. Then there would be the finals at World's End, which I believe would be his 7th match. So Bryan Danielson, who, God bless this guy, like, you know, he's had a lot of injuries, and he now must wrestle 7. Nothing happened in matches, because he told us this will be the greatest tournament in the history of wrestling. So he's going to go out there and work 7 hard matches before he faces Okada at the Tokyo Dome, which is touch and go. Am I dreaming? Like, what is going on? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm praying for the best.
I'm praying he doesn't have a terminal illness. Why are we forcing all of this stuff into this time frame right now? Why do you have to have this tournament leading into this match at the Dome if the Dome match was touch and go?
That's an excellent point. This tournament, why does this tournament have to be right now? Why can't you do the tournament in February?
I don't know.
Or in March? I mean, Tony said he's here through August. What is the hurry? Why are we throwing this poor guy out there?
And who are the other stars going to be? Because I got to be honest, anymore, whenever I hear all the stars are going to be there, I think of Norm Macdonald on whatever red carpet that he was on. And he says, all the stars are here. And he starts listing off all of these ridiculous names. Like, what does that mean? Is this a greater plan being hatched in the background by working with New Japan where it's going to lead into the match at the Dome? That's the reason they're doing this right now? You know, who are you going to bring in that's a great big star? Who are you going to bring in that's special to this, that makes it unique and something that's special to AEW? I don't know. They have a lot of stars that are there, but I don't think people are going to be all about seeing AEW stars. I think they're going to want other people in there of repute if this is going to be a little mini G1 created just for Bryan Danielson.
Well, you know, we need 11 stars and we need a Yano. So everybody has one easy match.
That's true.
And who will the Yano be? And who the Yano could be? What about old Danhausen? Remember like 3 weeks ago, they said Danhausen's going to be back. Yeah. And then he showed up and he said, actually, I'm going to be back next week. And then next week came and he didn't come back. Where's Danhausen?
Wacky
Where is this guy?
And such? I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe he'll be the Yano in this tournament. I guess we shall see.
Why can't Yano just be the Yano in the tournament?
I would have no problem with Yano being the Yano in this AEW tournament.
Is he in the tag league? They announced that. I got to go to the front
Well,
page
I've got him right here, Mike, because unlike you, I'm a professional.
Oh, yes, you are.
So here are the 2023 tag league teams for New Japan. And this tournament is also starting at the end of November 20th, in fact. And this one actually wraps up on December 8th. So we got more time for the AEW tournament. But we got Shota Umino and Ren Narita. We have Ishii and Yano. So Yano is in the tournament. Ishii and Yano.
Teamwork.
This is an incredible team.
It's a teamwork.
Hanari and the Great Okan. Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, Evil and Yujiro. We got Keito Kiyomiya and Oiwa. We have Bishop Khan and Toa Leona, the Gates of Agony. The Gates of Agony are in the World Tag League. We have Goto and Yoshihashi. We have Hikuleo and El Phantasmo. Minoru Suzuki and Yuji Nagata.
Oh, my God.
That sounds like an awesome
team. They're going to fight after every match.
Yes. Taichi and Yuya Uemura, whose team name in this tag league is Just Five Guys.
Well, that's the faction.
Shouldn't the faction be Just Five Guys, but their tag name is Just Two Guys?
Well, it's Just Five Guys minus 3.
Then we've got, this is interesting, Yota Tsuji and a TBA.
Ooh,
who could that be? We got Soberano and Atlantis Jr.
That's cool.
We have Lance Archer and Alex Zane, the team of, and I quote, Monster Sauce. We have got Bad Luck Fale and Jack Bonza.
Bad Luck Fale. I like how you put some
Bullet
extra sauce
Club
onto that.
Rogue Army is the name of that team.
Yes, the offshoot of Bad Luck Fale, the Rogue Army, yes.
Yes.
Tournament debut for those guys. Plenty of other, like this, if nothing else, because it's usually a skippable tournament every year as we get to whoever's going to face the champions at the Tokyo Dome. It's usually relatively pedestrian, at least with all of these new teams in here. Gates of Agony, Soberano and Atlantis, Zane and Archer. I mean, at least it's something that freshens things up. So that it's going to be some interesting matchups there, especially I'd love to see Khan and Toa Leona throwing blows back and forth with Ishii. It might be pretty good.
I always love when the screenshot goes up for one of our shows on the Twitter, and I look like I don't even know what.
I know.
What am I doing in that picture right there?
I know.
Horrible.
Apparently, I was in pitch black darkness on the show on Friday. Nobody ever told me.
What do you mean you were in pitch black? You didn't turn the lights on?
Apparently there was not enough light. So much so that I actually ordered a box light. It should be here tomorrow because I'm sick of this.
I can't wait to see that. Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com.
Did you find out who was doing us wrong in those pictures there that they use on Twitter? Is that JJ? Who's in charge today?
I'm sure it's JJ. I can't
Damn you,
throw
JJ.
Brian Rose under the bus. All right, so we got Raw tonight. We've got Finn Balor and Damian Priest against Cody and Jey Uso for the World Tag Team titles. The Miz faces Ivar after that thing that happened last week. Piper Niven versus Tegan Knox. Are we ever going to pull that? I guess we've got a multi-team tag title match or whatever coming. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Otis. Xia Li versus Indy Hartwell. And Tommaso Ciampa versus Ludwig Kaiser.
Not a lot on paper there.
It's a World Tag Team title match, bro.
I like that, and I like Kaiser and Ciampa. I don't know about the rest of it, but that's all right. The matches don't matter as much on Raw as they do on some other shows, including Smackdown, I think. So we'll see. 3 hours of Raw. I'm getting ready. I'm psyched up. Are you ready, Brian? You ready for 3 hours of Raw again?
It's kind of weird. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if suffering leads to... You know what I heard? That's what this
Suffering
reminds
is
me
painless? Of. Yes.
I heard that people who get struck by lightning and live, okay? Obviously, this is not the case for those who die. But if you get struck by lightning and live, it's intense pain, obviously, getting struck by lightning.
I would think.
But then by the time you get to the hospital, like you're in ecstasies, they say. The intense pain is such that your
brain takes over.
Everything spins the opposite way. So, like, there's nothing that I dread more than 3 straight hours of Raw on Monday night. I would much prefer 2. Or, for example, this past Saturday night, this Saturday night, there were people on the board complaining about the way we covered that UFC show. They were like, I wish Ryan had been there. I do too. Because you know what? I don't even like UFC. These days, I'm over it. I'm over UFC, okay? If I want to see dudes grappling, I go to the gym twice a week. I see it every day.
Yes.
And, I'm over it. And then on top of that, it's like, now we have Collision on Saturday night. So my Saturday nights are, somehow, I got to get through 2 hours of Collision, and then, I better have watched Smackdown the night before, because I got to get through the 2 hours of Collision, then I got to try and get through the entire UFC pay-per-view before I do a show with Dave at, 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, I'm filled with such dread, but, when it's all over, I feel so much better. And I sleep, for that 5 hours or whatever, like the dead. Ecstasies, in fact. But no, the point is, I'm not looking forward to 3 hours of Raw. I hope whoever buys them goes, you know what? We're going to pay you more for less. Never been done in the history of television. But we decided we're we're fans. We don't want to see all 3 hours of this. We'll see.
I think what I've learned here today is either find a Molly dealer or get hit by lightning, and that will make your Raw experience that much better.
I like this guy. No dread when you get paid. So no one should ever complain about any job ever. Is that right?
Yeah, hold on now.
Yeah, your job is, grave digging or whatever. That's not so bad. I get paid.
It's pros and cons to every job, especially after you're in the system for a while, let me tell you, okay?
This guy on YouTube chat says UFC is too much testosterone for Alvarez. Spoken by a person who's never been in a dojo in their life.
Ooh.
Too much testosterone. Get out of here. Come on.
Damn. Actually, really, it's just that UFC is not compelling. I know that's the biggest thing with me. Boxing is one of my favorite sports. I grew up, I love boxing.
Yeah, people are like, man, what a big show it was this weekend. No, it was supposed to be a big show.
Supposed to be a big show.
But then they lost the John Jones main event, and they had people paying $75,000 for tickets to watch not a John Jones fight in Madison Square Garden.
And that was the main event, was the fact that it was in Madison Square Garden. But,
yeah, the show had knockouts. It was like 5 easy fights to watch. Like, what can I say about a 1-minute knockout? How much more do you want me to say?
Well,
you want me to break it down second by second for 60 seconds and the guy got punched in the face and knocked out? What do you want me to say about it? Can't argue about scoring. They were all knockouts. What do you want me to say about this show?
I think what you need to do is talk to your business partner and get you off of these Saturday shows.
I wish. I begged. It didn't matter.
Why? All of a sudden you have no control?
And also, Ryan went to the show. He wasn't going to be back in time anyway.
Where was Garrett?
Why are we wasting all this time?
Let's
talk about Wrestle Kingdom. We've got Sonata versus Naito. Hopefully his eye's fixed.
Here we go.
It's another one. He's got to get his eye fixed.
Who?
Because he was working on a bad eye for years.
Naito?
We got Okada versus Danielson by the grace of God.
That's why he would do that thing with his eye. Did you know that?
We got Will Ospreay against Moxley.
He had to hold it open. It was
and Finlay.
Did that whole thing.
For the United States / United Kingdom / whatever they're going to call this new belt.
With the eye.
Hiromu and El Desperado for the junior title. Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney versus TJP and Francesco Akira for the junior heavyweight tag titles.
Francesco Akira.
What did I say this time?
It's some weird hybrid between that and Francisco.
Well, listen, maybe if my grandmother wasn't named Francesca, this would be a lot easier.
Francesca!
No, she said Francesca.
Francesca?
She couldn't speak English, though, so it was a little confusing. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the World Television title. And Shingo versus Tama Tonga for the never openweight title. Yes.
Did you watch the New Japan Strong show by chance?
I did not.
I did not either.
Great talking point. Thanks, Mike.
Great glorified house show.
Let's talk about movies.
I was going to lead that into a filthy Tom Lawler thing, but we can talk about movies.
We have got MJF
Emmanuel.
as the executive producer.
He's got that much money?
Of the Iron Claw.
Damn.
The poster is a little confusing. He's listed on the poster, but the way the poster is put together, it looks like they're just listing him as one of the stars because he is. But he's actually an executive producer.
Lance Von Erich was never a star.
Go with it here, Mike.
How much do they concentrate on him in this movie here?
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Executive producer. It means he's got money. He threw in money.
The movie is about the Von Erich, so Lance Von Erich should be
they
all over the movie, right?
They apparently didn't include Chris Von Erich.
No, they didn't. They said due to timing issues.
Jeez. Oh, terrible.
Yep.
Well, look, it's not like this guy does not have an entertainment background. It's not like he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to artistic things. I'm sure he's been in movies and productions before when it comes to blocking and all that sort of stuff, and the fact that I'm sure Chavo Guerrero Jr. was not the only one helping out on those wrestling sequences. Maybe it's a combined thing. Maybe he actually helped to finance this movie a little bit or threw in some money, considering that this was not a big budget movie. It's just not. And it's a much smaller film than, again, it's getting a whole lot of talk in our world, obviously, because of what it's about. But, it's a relatively small budget, a really small budget by Hollywood standards. So maybe he did help out that way, and he helped out also in an artistic way as well, where that's why he's got that EP credit.
And we've got John Cena's Coyote versus Acme film.
This is justice.
Friday, Warner Brothers stated they did not intend to release the film in favor of taking a $30 million tax write-off.
Bastards.
I wish I could get a $30 million tax write-off. Movie's estimated to have cost $70 to $72 million to make. However, Puck News is reporting that Warner Brothers, isn't that like a hockey magazine, will now allow the filmmakers to shop the movie to other potential distributors. Change of course reportedly occurred after, quote, some heated back and forth between the studio and reps for the cast and crew. Can't imagine they'd be upset. As
they
well as,
hammered
quote,
them.
Online outcry by filmmakers and this is the big one, the animation community. I'll bet they're outspoken.
Don't want to piss them off.
Amazon
you got somebody
Prime
talking bad about you. Can you imagine them drawing you bad, too?
Amazon Prime, Apple, and Netflix reportedly interested in acquiring the film from Warner Brothers.
Good.
Maybe WWE can buy and put it on Peacock.
Well,
yes.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with anybody. Look, I don't see a whole lot of movies or anything like that, but I did like Looney Tunes cartoons, and obviously the Coyote vs. the Roadrunner, one of the great stories that they would have, and John Cena being part of a live action part of this, some of the things that I've seen in hindsight now, once they said the movie was going to be canceled, a lot of the, again, people that worked on it that were pissed off released some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and it looks awesome. It looks like a fun movie that I would actually see, so I'm happy somebody's going to be putting it out there, and I'm happy for John Cena as well, too. Again, this could be again, it's not like he's The Rock when it comes to his movie roles. It's not like he has those options. This might have been a big breakout thing for him, so we'll see.
What is also interesting is that they note that Coyote vs. Acme is a live-action hybrid in the style of Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Space Jam. I believe two movies that, like the heyday of the Von Erichs, all came before MJF was even born.
That's true. That's true. Way to date us and everybody else out there that remembers that, boss man. Thank you. On a Monday at that, when we have to watch Raw. Bringing us down.
No, Bill Bird. Actually, I don't know if Chris Adams is in it. Maybe he is.
Oh, come on, Brian. Come on. Chris Adams?
I don't know what story they're going to tell. I don't know. I know nothing about the movie except the trailer I watched.
I can't imagine what the Chris Adams would look like considering the guy they got to play Ric Flair.
Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live.
You know, I hope people, I'm glad for the people that are watching us right now and didn't have a chance to hear that commercial for Ancestry.com. Nothing against them or anything like that, but I can't think of a worse gift to get. I can understand why people would be shocked. It's like, this is what I got you, a history of your DNA.
Well, maybe if you had a cool history like me, Mike, you'd be happy.
You got the greatest last name in the world, okay? Original Latin.
Then you should be happy to get a gift like that. I would
don't
love
want that.
I want Ancestry.com. Hey, listen, they can send me a free whatever. I'll plug them here on the air.
Come on.
My family dating back to the Mayans.
You might.
We were Mayan kings back in the day.
Be very careful to go back in your history. You never know what you might find.
Well, I'm sure I'd find a lot of cool stuff.
So maybe some stuff you don't want to talk
I had a relative named Perfecto, so I know there's a lot of great stuff back there.
Perfect. Actually, you know what? This might be able to let us know how you actually tie to Canelo Alvarez, your cousin.
You know what's funny is we actually have stuff to talk about here, brother. You don't have to delay it all.
Oh, well, what do we got?
Well, we had the Smackdown show, which I thought this show was one of the better Smackdowns in a while.
Solid.
Because we had two very good angles on this show, and we had, this match that they did with Dragon
Cedric?
Lee and Cedric.
Yeah, Cedric.
My God.
Yeah.
It's Dave said it was only 5 minutes long. It felt longer than that. But they don't do anything with Cedric. Dragon Lee is new on the main roster. They did a match several weeks ago, and, nobody cared. And granted, it was only 2 minutes or whatever. But for what it was good. So this week they decided, why don't you guys go out there again and put in some time? And, they started out, and the crowd's just kind of watching it. But, man, they had such a good match that the crowd was going nuts by the end. This is awesome chants. I mean, both these guys should get, I hate the word, opportunities based on what they managed to do with this crowd in this match. But that match was really good.
Dragon's getting opportunities because of the position he's in right now. But, with Cedric, I don't know what the answer is there because you have beaten him down and treated him like garbage for so long. What is he going to do? Get back on his knees and go crawling back to Bobby Lashley, as they add B-Fab to the group now with the Street Profits? I guess you could do that if you want to spin off Montez Ford as a single star and you don't want to necessarily have him turn on Dawkins or something like that or vice versa. But I don't know what the answer is. Maybe sending him back down to NXT could be the answer. And maybe he never makes it back up to the main roster again. But you could be getting so much more out of Cedric Alexander with the experience that he has. Maybe NXT is the right place for him for a while to really help out all those people they have with such little experience under their belt.
Then the first angle was involving the LWO, and Ray's coming out, talking about how Logan stole the U.S. title with those brass knucks. And, we talked about this on the pay-per-view. Santos conveniently put those knucks right in position for Logan Paul. And, it's the opening segment on SmackDown. Carlito comes out immediately and just goes, you're talking about the wrong person here. You're blaming the wrong guy. You should be blaming Santos Escobar. And Santos is furious, and he walks out. He's so mad, he just leaves. He screams at Ray, you chose him over me. So he's gone. So we do Lashley versus Carlito, and they're doing this match, and of course, the LWO, they stay at ringside even though Santos left. And this brawl breaks out between the Street Profits, Joaquin, and Cruz. And so Santos runs back down. The ref is distracted. Montez hits Carlito. Lashley pins Carlito. So the heels are stomping down Carlito after the match. And Santos is right there, but he's mad. This guy accused him of this. So he just stands there. And so Ray runs down to the ring with a chair, and he sends all the heels packing. And Ray and Santos then get into this big argument. And Santos is like, man, it's supposed to be me and you. We're supposed to be a family. And Ray shoves him and says, we are all one big family, the LWO. So Santos hangs his head, and he goes to leave. But then he turns around, and he goes and he starts stomping on Ray. And Ray jumps up. He's like, what are you doing? And Santos, he kind of feels bad again. Ray ends up slapping him, and then Ray feels bad. And then Santos ends up posting Rey Mysterio. And he throws him into the steps, and Ray gets his leg caught in between the steps and the post, and Santos drop kicks the steps and destroys his leg, and Zelina runs down, and she's crying, and Santos once again blames everybody else except himself, and he walks out. So, poor Ray. What do you mean, thumbs down?
Okay, you know what? Thumbs kind of in the middle.
This was great.
Just somebody... It was executed well. But what have they done with Santos Escobar on that main roster that makes me think he's going to be coming out of this any better than when he went into it with? Doesn't make me feel good for Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, but we'll see. You know, I wish there would have been more with Santos Escobar and on the babyface side and being... I don't know, something here. It's just more something. Right now, it's just Ray getting turned on again, and we've seen this a zillion times. Again, it was executed well, but it was just like, okay, I've been waiting on this to happen. It felt like it's going to happen now forever, and I don't think that anybody is going to be any better off in any of this stuff. You know, sure, we might get a Logan Paul and Santos against Carlito and Ray match or something like that, but then at the end of the day, is anybody any better off? And we'll find out. It doesn't feel that way, though.
I can't wait to get heat for this one, but let's talk facts. When they turned Dominik on Ray, I heard the exact same thing. How could this possibly be good for Dominik? How could he possibly when he's separated from his father?
So you're sticking Santos with Rhea?
So much better off.
So you're sticking Santos with Rhea?
No, what
I'm
saying
is
that
was the biggest part of Dom.
How about I give it a month or two before I decide the guy's sunk? Like,
well,
obviously they got a plan here. Obviously it's Ray and Santos at Mania. So
I'm willing to wait too, and we'll see what happens. But I am not, again, history is not on their side as far as convincing me that this is going to be great for anybody. But I'll say this. I like the direction that they're going with Dragon Lee. Again, you can't get your hopes up too much, but if there's anybody there in their entire system who could be the next, and I take that back, the first not Rey Mysterio Jr. to get over with a mask and to be a merchandise seller. I think they have that person with Dragon Lee, and I hope they're careful about him. But then again, I thought they've had that person a lot over the years, and it's never happened.
Lenny, it's still not good for Dom. Oh, Lenny, I hope he's got a container for those $100 in quarters, because he's striking out big time here.
Hey, look,
listen, you don't have to like Dom. He is like from the ground floor to the top of the Empire State Building compared to where he was before.
Absolutely. Look,
are you kidding me?
He's taken the ball and run with it. He absolutely has. And look, the match
miles
with
beyond.
Frazier, I didn't think it was much, but when he's been matched up with the right people, he's held up to his end of the deal, and the matches have been really good. And again, yes, they were able to work the microphone, and they took advantage of that, and they certainly took advantage of the heat that he gets with Rhea Ripley and all those corny skits, but it has evolved since those corny skits, and he has been a large part of that. Again, he's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but again, Bryan deserves to take a victory lap for that because he was able to call it.
And wait till the victory lap I take Saturday at Full Gear.
Why?
Lenny is dying on this hill. He is still determined to win this bet. How could you watch... Lenny's a smart guy. How could you watch one AEW show, much less the last month, and conclude that MJF is losing this Saturday? How? Just to be stubborn is the answer. Then we had the main event angle. So the main event match is Bianca, Charlotte, and their new partner, Asuka, against Kairi, Io, and Bayley. And so they're doing this match. And, man, Charlotte and Kairi could not get on the same page, like over and over again. And finally...
Just like old times.
Finally, at the end, Asuka is standing on the apron. Bianca has finally cleared the ring. She's crawling over to make the tag. She goes to tag Asuka, but Asuka short arms her. Bianca's like, what are you doing? Asuka blows the mist in her face. She gets in the ring. Kairi gets in the ring on the other side. They look at each other. They smile. And they hug. The place goes nuts. So Kairi and Asuka, they do this big giant group hug. They demand that Bayley joins in. Charlotte hits the ring. They all start beating down Charlotte for the DQ. Shotzi runs down to save Charlotte. She gets beaten up. Io hits Charlotte with the moonsault. Kairi pins Bianca, or hits Bianca with the spinning back fist. She hits the flying elbow. And the end of the show is the new Damage Control with Bayley and Io and Kairi and now Asuka and Dakota Kai. They're all standing tall over these destroyed baby faces. And like, where it's going, obviously, is they may do 5-on-5. But, for now, it is Kairi, Io, Bayley, and Asuka versus Charlotte, Bianca, Shotzi, and it will be Becky Lynch. And then I guess they could add one more to each side. But, man, this main event angle felt so hot. And they've been doing that Judgment Day versus Cody's crew for months now. And that's the men's War Games. And I may be the only one, but when this is over, and I'm not the only one because someone mentioned in the chat last night, this angle felt hotter than the men's angle going into that War Games match. And, man, what a team. Kairi, Io, Asuka, and Bayley. This was great.
It's too bad Dakota Kai is still out right now, but add somebody to that equation for Survivor Series, I'm all for it. For one night, that was the baddest ass looking team you could have had in the ring, standing over those women all laid out, and it looked great. It came across great. The hug that they had earlier, where Bayley was still sitting there, kind of kind of backed off from Kairi. So there's, again, depending on what they're going to do with this story, there's a lot of different twists and turns that they can take now with everybody on the same side like that. And Bayley kind of, again, being a figure who might be caught up and trapped in her own web here now with everybody else kind of surrounding her.
Man, they're going to turn on Bayley
so hard.
And they're going to just dump the bejesus out of her one of these days.
Miss the hell out of her. It's going to be brutal.
Yes. I am all for Kairi, Io, and Asuka as a 3-woman unit just running absolutely roughshod over every single other women's group in this company.
I got one for you. Look, if Dakota Kai can come back, you have her as the 4th person, then look, I know you don't have all the 4 original horsewomen or anything like that, but Bayley, Charlotte, Bianca, and Becky, head up against those 4. Something I wouldn't mind seeing either.
So that was a SmackDown show there, and then the Collision main event. I mean, there wasn't much of the Collision show, but the main event was fun. Adam Copeland, Sting, and Darby against Dutch, Vincent, and Lance Archer, and they got the heat on Sting, like of all people. He just gets beaten on for minutes on end. Tags in Darby. Adam Copeland makes a big hot tag. Place goes nuts. Copeland spears Vincent for the pin, and then they had a big stare down setting up Wednesday. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Well, in an hour, Filthy Tom joins us, only for subscribers at WrestlingObserver.com. And we have Smackdown to talk about, him and Fred Rosser at the Lone Star Shootout show this past weekend. And he'll, I'm sure, be talking about Rampage. And we'll also be talking about Chris Jericho versus Takeshita from the DDT show this past weekend. And whatever else comes to mind. So it's going to be very exciting. That is at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. Video.f4wonline.com, as well as WrestlingObserver.com for the audio. Only for subscribers. It is a subscriber-only show, so check it out. We got lots to talk about there. And then tonight, it is the Wrestling Observer radio show with myself and Dave. Hopefully not too late. Tomorrow, Observer Live. And then we did make our decision. We're doing theme months. And for November, since there's only 3 weeks, we're going to finish off all of the Saturday night main events we have not seen yet. I think there's actually 4 left. But tomorrow, the Tuesday Bryan and Vinny show, live at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern, or replays at WrestlingObserver.com and video.f4wonline.com. It is the October 13, 1990, Saturday night's main event. Season 6, Episode 5. So if you want to follow along with us, that is the show. All of these subscriber only. So check it out, and that's it, everybody. Want to wrap it up for today. Thanks all of the folks on YouTube. Even that fella there that typed in all caps for an entire hour. And twitch.tv/F4W video. Callers and listeners over to the studio. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.